Back to school shopping used to be pencils and a backpack. Now it's a full rebrand for a 7-year-old. And what I fear is happening is we're not shopping for the first day of school or school in general anymore. We're shopping for that first day aesthetic photo. Suddenly, every kid needs a matching bento box, Stanley Cup, and water bottle sling, and 14 first week of school outfits. Now moms are filming back to school hauls like they're personal shoppers for a mega influencer. Some of these parents are spending college tuition prices on back to school stuff just for their kid to lose their water bottle by Wednesday. I know that was me as a kid. And I see a lot of moms saying, oh, it's for confidence. No, babe. It's for content. All I can think about is how the lost and found is going to be worth thousands of dollars. And I don't know what mom needs to hear this, but your kid does not need an aesthetic. If your kid didn't manage to ruin their backpack or lunchbox from last year and you're reusing it, you are not a bad mom, you're a smart mom. Your kid does not need multiple lunchboxes. Back to school spending in the US hit over $41 billion last year. But yeah, let's spend $12 on a pencil pouch. Now it's a yearly aesthetic rebrand.
Hey everyone, don't waste your time and let's go start this video and watch this video.
Okay, so we're gonna do a little mom rant right now. I am absolutely livid. I took my daughter into Walmart to get a pair of shoes because she says that her Nike shoes are too tight on her. She got some Nike Blazers at the beginning of the school year. Every beginning of the school year, I always get my kids a pair of Nikes, and then throughout the school year, I'll go to like Target or Walmart or whatever to get them shoes. Well, apparently she says this year that she's too good for it. So she complained this morning, like 30 minutes this morning, didn't want to go to school because her Nike Blazers were too tight on her. And I literally took this child into Walmart, and she is 13 years old, and she got on the freaking floor at Walmart. She started crying, saying that all the shoes were ugly and that she wasn't wearing them. And I was like livid at this point. And I was like, so you're telling me you're too good for Walmart shoes? And people were staring at me, looking at me as if I was a bad mom. And at this point, I'm not saying anything, and I'm just like keeping my cool, and I'm not talking to anybody else. And I keep looking at her, and I'm like, Ella, try these shoes on, put these shoes on. I don't have any money to get you Nikes. She still is like not putting these shoes on, and she's crying, and she's down in the floor, and like I literally had to like force the shoe off of her, and I had to go pick up my other son. I was like, you're wasting my time, we don't got very much time, let's do this, come on. And these people are now like gathering around me, staring at me, and they're trying to make it where they're not watching me, but I could totally tell they are. And so I finally, like, she puts her foot out, and I like put a shoe on her, and she just is like throwing a fit. Well, I end up just throwing these shoes in the cart. Anyways, I had to pause. So she just kept not putting on these shoes. I had to force it on her foot. And she is like almost have me in tears now because I can't afford Nike shoes. And an elderly woman like looks at me and rolls her eyes, and I turn around, I'm like, do you want to buy her shoes? Do you know what she's crying about? She's crying because she's too good for Walmart shoes. That's what she's crying about. And I literally at this point took her Nike Blazer that was in the floor, I threw it in the shopping cart, threw those shoes in the shopping cart, and I just started walking. So she's trotting behind me with one foot, one shoe on, one nothing on the other foot. I need my shoes, I need my shoes. I'm sorry, but I'm that mom. Yeah, that's my mom rant.
This whole back to school shit has me stressed the fuck out, because why on my son's school supply list does he need 4 packs of crayons? 4 packs of 24 crayons. He needs a pack of 24 pencils. All the shit that they're asking for is clearly for the rest of the class. I'm sorry, but I'm buying my child his supplies, and I'm labeling everything. And from what I heard, they put all these extra supplies in a bucket to help children that don't have supplies. Which, okay, cool, is understandable, but why should the parents or the teachers have to provide for this? Why can't the Board of Education do anything about this? My money is for my child and my child only. I'm sorry. But all those extra supplies, I do not give a fuck. They are not going to be sent to his school. I'm going to keep them here in the house. And if the teacher has a problem with it, then I guess we'll be having to discuss that when school starts. But I am not providing for every child in the class.
Today I went to Walmart to buy backpacks for my kids. And why is one backpack $21? $21 plus tax for a singular backpack. Y'all know I got 3 kids, so I had to buy 3 different backpacks. My total was $64 for 3 backpacks. And these are not no fancy high quality backpacks. This is Paw Patrol, Dinosaur, and Spider-Man. And my thinking is someone who makes $20 an hour has to work for 1 full hour to afford 1 backpack for their child. So what are y'all doing? Are y'all like taking out loans for back to school shopping? Because that's just the backpack plus the supply. We still gotta get shoes, clothing, and if you live in a cold state, you got to get winter stuff, the lunch boxes, the reusable water container. And I'm a reusable girly. I was gonna have my kids reuse last year's backpacks, but they tore them up. Like, these backpacks are falling apart, so rightfully so, I wanted to get them new backpacks. I was under the impression these were gonna be like $10 a piece. It really goes to show how much the economy has changed and how Walmart is not even affordable anymore. And I can only imagine the parents that are having to choose between buying a book bag for their kids and buying groceries.
Back to school, shopping used to feel like a normal end of summer tradition. But in 2026, many American parents are looking at their receipts and asking one simple question. How did school supplies become this expensive? Parents are now sharing their shopping totals online, and some of these receipts are getting people seriously concerned. From backpacks and shoes to clothes, electronics, and basic classroom supplies, the cost can add up much faster than families expect. The biggest problem isn't always one expensive item. It's everything combined. A child may need notebooks, pencils, folders, a backpack, clothes, shoes, lunch supplies, and other classroom essentials. Then there are the items that weren't always considered necessary in previous years, including technology and other school-related expenses. One item might only cost a few dollars, but when you're buying 20 or 30 different things, that small amount suddenly becomes a much bigger bill, and families with multiple children can face an even larger expense. Back to school, shopping doesn't happen in isolation. Parents are already paying for groceries, housing, transportation, insurance, childcare, and countless other household expenses. So when another major seasonal expense arrives, families have to find room for it in an already crowded budget. Some parents are responding by comparing prices, buying generic brands, shopping during sales, purchasing used items, or spreading their shopping across several weeks. Others are reusing backpacks, clothing, and supplies from previous years whenever possible. For many families, saving a few dollars on each item can make a meaningful difference by the time they're finished.
Serious question, are the people that have more than one child okay? Because I only have one and I'm not okay. My son's school supply list came out today, and I know I'm getting old, but I don't remember paying $127 in school supplies. Not clothes, school supplies. My parents weren't that big on school supply shopping, and they really didn't have to be. My father asked me the day before school started, "Hey, did you go get your school supplies?" The answer was always no, so he would run me down to the nearest Jewel Osco. Jewel's had folders for 30 cents, notebooks for 50, get a pack of pencils, a pen, and I'm all set for the year. Whatever I didn't have, I borrowed from some poor girl in class that thought I liked her. I'm still trying to survive this summer. This boy eat like it's going out of style and still ain't gained no weight. Basketball season just ended for him, and now he's in football, and that don't come cheap. And I'm sitting over here trying to figure out, how are parents surviving with more than one child? I need to make some more money. I wonder how Danielle feel about me stripping.
You know what I have no patience for right now? The people that are saying, oh, it's just 0.001% of the budget. It's a negligible amount of money when it comes to the grand scheme of our tax dollars. The things that they are uncovering right now that we are actively spending money on as taxpayers are ridiculous. You don't need to defend it. You don't need to die on that hill. I promise you. You don't have to ascribe to the taxation for taxation's sake and spending for spending's sake. You don't have to do it. We should not be spending money on researching bubble wrap and stress. We should not be spending money to fund musicals overseas. And I don't hate musicals. I love a good musical. Did you get to see the musical? I didn't. Listen, if a few cents comes out of my tax dollars and I get a ticket to Guys and Dolls when they come through town, we can have that conversation, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about putting on shows in other countries. Listen, I get the argument that this is pennies on the dollar type stuff. but it's still important stuff. We shouldn't be spending the money. And if you take that position, I would ask you this. Do you want to talk about the big stuff? Do you want to talk about Social Security? Do you want to talk about Medicare? Do you want to talk about the military? We can talk about those things. Those are the big ones. But just throwing your hands up and shouting when they start talking about looking into spending, like no spending can be discussed. You freak out the moment that happens. You don't want us to audit any government spending. But individuals should be audited if they receive $600 from PayPal in a year. Like, come on. That doesn't make you look crazy.
Brady got a Chromebook for school last year. I bought him a new Chromebook because that's just what they take to and from. I feel like it's easier to have our own, even though you can use the schools, because then it syncs up to our home printer and all of those kinds of things. We had it for a year. It won't turn on. And so we went to Best Buy. The minute the Geek Squad touched the computer, she turned on and booted up. He played around with it for like 15 minutes and he's like, there's nothing wrong with your computer. So we get home and we're like, well, that was crazy. Won't turn on again. He can't get it to turn on. So we're going to go back to Best Buy. If this thing turns on again, we've got a serious Chromebook gremlin in our house. Heading into Best Buy, here's the deal. People have a bad hair day. What do? They put it in a messy bun. What happens when your hair is short like mine? I look like Sally Field. I don't get to do a messy bun. It's not fair in the land of hair. It's not fair in the land of hair. You know, that rhymed a little bit too well. Best Buy now thinks we are crazy people. We're like, you know what, here's the deal. Like, maybe we have a gremlin at home, but we can't get the Chromebook to turn on. And the guy's like, why don't you open it up for us? Brady opens it up. It turned on. Instantaneously. And I just stood there in my Sally Field hair in disbelief and was like, well, thanks for your time. And we left. I don't know what else to do.
Old Navy got uniform shirts for $6. Children's Place got uniform shirts for $7. But if you buy 5 or more, they $5 a piece. This is for the type A mamas. This is for the type A mamas that are going ahead and getting started on their back to school shopping. You know what I'm saying? If you don't give a damn, if you got more time, your kid don't go back to September, just keep scrolling. Don't leave that shit in my comments. Anyway, Nike also has a sale going on right now. Nike has 20% off a lot of shoes that are already marked down. I'm just saying, don't wait. And if you live in one of them tax-free states, Georgia got rid of that shit a long time ago. There's some hating ass niggas here. You know what I'm saying? We don't get tax-free no more. I remember growing up, getting my mama waiting to tax-free weekend. They said, no, thank you. Took it back from us. Anyway, if you live in a tax-free state, I will see when your tax-free weekend is and try to align the sales. But I'm just letting you know. Old Navy and Children's Place have the polos on sale. You're welcome.
There's also something interesting happening online. Parents are posting their receipts and showing exactly what their back-to-school shopping trips cost. And once those numbers appear on social media, people immediately start comparing. One parent might spend a relatively small amount by shopping strategically, while another family could spend hundreds of dollars depending on what their children need. That creates a debate. Are school supplies actually becoming unaffordable, or are families simply buying more products than they did in the past? The answer isn't the same for every household. One positive thing coming out of this pressure is that parents are becoming more creative. Families are organizing swap groups, buying second-hand items, comparing multiple stores, looking for discounts, and reusing whatever they can. Some parents are also teaching their children an important lesson in the process. You don't always need the newest or most expensive version of something. A backpack doesn't have to be the most popular brand. A pencil doesn't need to be expensive. And sometimes, last year's perfectly good supplies can work just fine. For families trying to stay within a budget, those small decisions can add up. Back-to-school season is supposed to be about getting children ready to learn, but for many families, it's also becoming a serious financial calculation. Parents are looking at every item, comparing prices, and deciding what's actually necessary. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson from these viral receipts. The total cost of raising a family isn't just one big expense. It's hundreds of smaller expenses that keep adding up. So here's the question. How much did you spend on back-to-school shopping this year, and do you think prices have gotten out of control? Share your total in the comments, because parents across America are clearly comparing notes.
And this video is made for entertainment purpose only. Like and follow and subscribe and comment this video. An interesting part in the video, please comment and like, follow please. Thank you.